Hello everyone. Good evening. Have you tried JavaScript objects? Create objects we learned yesterday. Anyone tried? Yes or no? You reply me in the chat. Any doubt regarding yesterday's class? So we're continuing with the objects only. Now in that we have document object and the browser objects. So I think you remember about document object. We learned at the first only. We have this document dot write method, write ln. Then there we had get element by id, like that I have showed you. At the starting only we have seen what is document object and all. What was the problem there to say? Save with .html extension. Then you have seen here now how we are running that one. Go to that file location. Then there, right click there, open with your browser name. Okay, fine. Then you send me, then I'll tell you what is the problem. Okay. Anyone else? Only one student tried. What about others? Have you tried about object programs? Okay, now I'm going to teach you about the document object model only. So the first only we have seen what is a document object. That is an object for our HTML document. So when the HTML document is loaded in the browser, it becomes a document object. It is a root element that represents the HTML document. All these things we have done. In that, it consists of different methods are there. Document object, write ln, get element by id, element by name, tag name, class name, like that. Different methods are there. We have done only with the write method. Now we'll see what is applications with get element by id, get element by name. These methods how to use with your document object. Okay. So in that, main important one is get element by id method. And why we need this HTML document object? We can access all the HTML elements. Okay, so using this document object only, you are accessing your HTML elements, and you can change the value dynamically. Okay, so HTML, whatever you are creating using HTML, whatever messages you are printing using your heading tag, paragraphs, whatever it is, that all in static form only. If you want to make changes to that HTML elements dynamically, then we can use this document object. In that, we have this important method, get element by id method is there. So what is the usage? The common way to access an HTML element is to use the ID of the element. So you are defining one ID attribute for your HTML elements. Like a paragraph, we are giving ID attribute equal to a name. You remember that forms while creating, we given a name for your text boxes. So to identify that particular text box, we have named it. Same manner, now this HTML elements we are naming using this ID attribute. So the easiest way to get the content of an element is by using this inner HTML property. So these things together we will only use. So to get the element ID we are using, and to change the property of that particular element, inner HTML property we are using. We'll see one example. In this program, it is showing how we are changing a paragraph value. So a heading is there, just it is showing the message like this. See, a paragraph tag is created inside your HTML. In that, an ID attribute is used. We named that paragraph as what? P1. So in an HTML file, we can create a number of paragraphs. So in that, which paragraph now you want to change it? So you named this particular paragraph as what? P1 using the ID attribute. And this is the value you have specified now. Okay, hello world, like that a value here you have specified. Now you used your HTML script, JavaScript you have used, script tag is used. Inside that, to display this hello world with a different value, or dynamically you want to change it when your page is loading or HTML document is loading, you want to change it dynamically, we are using your JavaScript there. So in that document dot, the method name is get element by ID. So which element now I want to access this paragraph, that we are identifying using which ID value P1. So that here we have specified. Yes. Now in that we are changing the content of that element. So see, already created paragraph with what content? Hello world. Now dynamically when you are loading your HTML page, then I want to change that paragraph content with a new value. So this is the value we have given there. So how I'll change that one? Using this inner HTML property. So get element by ID is a method of which object? Document object that have method called what? Inner HTML equal to the new content value we are specifying here. This is a normal paragraph. Here we are not changing anything dynamically. So which property or which HTML element you want to change it dynamically, you can use your JavaScript. Use this get element by ID method. Using inner HTML property, you can assign the new content for that HTML element. Okay, clear this program? We'll see this output. So actually, here you can see our heading tag is printing the message like this. Now we have given here one JavaScript to display. So what is the content now? It is displaying for the paragraph P1. It is displaying with a new value, what? New text. Already created with the hello world only, but that it is not accessing there. It is accessing with the new value which you assigned for the paragraph element. So this is dynamically we changed your HTML element using with the JavaScript. Clear this one? Any doubt? So this we have changed to the paragraph. Same manner, you can change with your heading tag. Any HTML elements, you can change it using this document object. See the example for heading. See, here a heading one, first heading, H1 only tag we used. For that one, we have this ID equal to a name. This name, anything you can give, no problem, but the attribute for that element should be what? ID. Then only that I can access using this method get element by ID. So here, this is the heading now we are giving, or the content of the element, HTML element is old heading like this. Now dynamically you want to change it. So we used our JavaScript here. We used document.getElement by ID, the element value. Here we accessed using that one only. That reference we given to this element. So it reference is nothing but this heading only. Now the heading content now you want to change. See, the variable element consists of this reference to the heading, element dot inner HTML property, a new value is assigned. Same thing, you can do it in a single line also, no problem. Without creating a variable also, you can do it. Like a previous example for the paragraph, how I showed you, like this. A single line only enough, or else separately if you want to change. You want to store that value inside a variable, then that variable only every time you want to use it, instead of writing this document.getElement by ID. That way I can use this, or else in a single line only enough. This is the new content we are typing for the H1 tag. That's it. See this output. So while creating H1, we given the content is what? Old heading. Now using this JavaScript get element by ID method, we changed it dynamically to what? New heading like this. We got a new value. Is this clear? You understood what is get element by ID? Any doubt? Okay.
Actually, ma'am, where can it be used? Would actually mother in the knowledge repository.
Sorry?
Where do we use it, ma'am? Like,
that is the point I told you. See, dynamically, if you want to change your HTML content. So what we explained about HTML, whatever headings I'm giving, whatever paragraphs I'm typing and keeping, all are in static form only. How many times you refresh your web page, every time it is showing the same content. Correct. JavaScript, why we are learning? To create dynamic or to create dynamic web pages only we are using which one? JavaScript there. So HTML way you created something. In that HTML tags or HTML elements, you are telling it is behaving dynamically. For that only this JavaScript we are using. Suppose you think that you are loading a page, that time it should change. According to the user input or something like that, the page content should be changed dynamically. Then I can use which values? This get element by ID method and all I can use it. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yesterday, one program, you remember the date example. It was not showing. You remember that program?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that what was the problem is the time every time it is changing now. If I use with the document.write, that is overwriting. So I'll not get the proper output. Instead of document.write, if I use this get element by ID method, then the time values and all more clearly I can show in the output. Okay, that examples I'll show you. Okay, so only this point is like this. If any HTML element you want to change this content dynamically, I can use this document object and the method is get element by ID. How to change that content dynamically? We'll use this inner HTML property. Okay, clear? See here, we have one more type. See here, this is same get element by ID method only we used. Instead of inner HTML, we used a different properties. Style, that means now we included which one? CSS also. HTML tag is there. For the tag, some CSS styles if you want to implement that, in which way dynamically you want to implement that styles. Okay, so We used all these three together. Paragraph ID equal to P1. This is the value. Another paragraph is used. ID attribute is used. Its name is P2. Same value only, same content only I want. Now here content we are not changing dynamically. The previous example for the paragraph you have seen here, you can see. We are changing hello world to new text using inner HTML. But here what we are doing, same content, but that style only changing that. How to change the style? We have our CSS style is there. So that style is a property here in this JavaScript dot color. Style dot font family, style dot font size. This and all we have used with which one? CSS. When we learned about CSS, we have done with all these properties. Now how to use this with your JavaScript? That only the statement is doing. All these three lines doing changes to which paragraph only? P2 paragraph only it is doing. That means the second paragraph. The first one remains unchanged because we are not making any changes to that first one, P1. P2 only we are changing. So get element by ID, P2 dot style dot color equal to the value like this. Style dot font family equal to Arial. Style dot font size equal to larger. Okay. See the output of this. So you can see the differences. The first paragraph not got changed anything. P1 that is not changed anything. That is and remain unchanged only. But the second one we have. Hello, are you able to hear me? Hello.
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Okay. So what we were doing is like this. Any doubt in these things? So how to use HTML tags? How to access
Ma'am, your
using?
screen isn't visible.
Sorry.
Ma'am, we can't see the
Ma'am, your screen isn't visible.
Okay, okay, 1 minute. 1 minute. Now we are able to see?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So clear this program. How to use this document object with get element by ID and how to assign the styles. That means our CSS how we included or how to change the content of the HTML elements. Clear? Any doubt? You see the yesterday's program. You remember how we accessed the milliseconds value? If I give some milliseconds, it was showing the date, time, all those information. See now that same thing, how to get the milliseconds? I think yesterday one doubt is asked about that one. How we'll know how to get that milliseconds value? So from that January 1st, 1970, since then, how many milliseconds is there? That value will get using this get time method. Okay. And it is a time or a date value. So it's better or a preferable way to use with which one only document dot get element by ID to print that time values. Okay, because that is every time time is changing. No, it is dynamically like that. It is changing every time. So it is better to use with which one document dot get element by ID. See here the paragraph, we named it as demo. Element by ID demo dot inner HTML d dot get type. D is already created as a date type of object here. So that D that refers to the current time, current date and time only it is referring. Dot get time method, if I use the current time, it will show you in the milliseconds format. Okay, this output you see. Like this. So from where it is calculating, that I told you, it is from January 1st, 1970 till now, how many seconds is over, that it is showing this value. Okay, clear? Any doubt? In this only, if you pass value like this, 2014 is the year value I'm giving. Then month is the next value. Okay, month I'm giving it is 9th month, comma, a date value that is 20. So now this is the date I'm creating. 2014, the month is 9th month and the date is 20. So if I use, now the date object is referring to the value which I have passed here, not to the current date and time. For that, how to get the milliseconds? D dot get time, if I use, it will show the milliseconds according to which values, this particular year value and month and date. So see, that is the milliseconds value according to the date which I have passed there. You can pass like this. Then it will show you what is the milliseconds. This was not working yesterday's programs and all, because I just used their document.write only. Time values and all, no. So it is better to use with document.getElementById. Any doubt in this? Clear? Okay. Now we can set some time values. Why together I'm showing is because anyway we have done with the document.getElementById. No, okay, see this date programs. Once again, I'll show you. So here date object is created. Now the D dot set full year, we are telling to which year, 2020. So D already created for which date? Today, 24th March, like that already created. Now what we are telling there, now the D, we are setting that year value to what? 2020. So now that will be referring to same date and same month, but the year value only we have changed it to our 2020. Okay. Same manner you can create for set month, set date, like that and all you can create it. Now year only we have changed. So you see the output, just we are printing here the value D. See, document.getElementById dot inner HTML equal to D we have specified. So in the paragraph, now the D is the content, it will come and display. Okay. You see here. So see, now what is the date value? It is March 24. That is same thing only, but the year is what? 2020. Okay. And that what was that day? It was Tuesday. So that information I'll get using this set type of a method that I just showed with our document.getElementById. Any doubt in these things? You got it? How to use this document.getElementById? Any doubt? Anything is there, you can type in the chats. If it is clear, then I'll go for browser object. So here We have done with ID name only. Instead of that one, you can give the tag name. Same properties only it is doing. See, if I want to do paragraph, P is the tag name now. Instead of ID, you can give the P. Or else if you want to give the class name, see for the P, if you are defining class is equal to some name or something like that, then I can use this class name we can do. Okay. So here some attribute you can use to change the attribute value. Inner HTML that will change the content only. This also we have used. Style dot property also we have used there. So this all comes under your document object. Okay. Now window object is there. So window object, that is the default one we learned. First only I told you about the objects when I explaining. Window object is a default one that is automatically created by the browser. Okay, so only the alert example when I showed you, we have not specified with window.alert because that window object is the default object of browser. Browser only creating that. So we can tell that is a browser object. Okay, so window is the browser object. It is not the object of JavaScript. JavaScript objects we have learned last class. String is an object type, array is an object type, date is an object type. But this window is not an object of JavaScript. It is the object of browser only. Now, how I can use this window object? Already we used this alert function. I think you remembering the program, how it will show. It will show a pop-up message box, a pop-up window only it is showing for you. So what it is doing, displays the alert box containing a message with an OK button. We have confirm. These all are built-in methods. Confirm method is there. Prompt is there. Open, close, set timeout. Okay, so we'll see examples for these things. But how the alert is working, how confirm, how prompt. Okay. So we have seen this example. Again, once again, I'm showing you. We created a button. Button value is click. We given an event like this. When I click on that button, this message function is calling there. Inside the message function, we given the alert function. So see here, it is not required to do like this. Window dot alert and all, no need to do. Without that also, directly you can call the window object methods because that is automatically created by the browser. Okay, so these are the browser objects. So we will just run and see. When I click on this, it is just telling hello alert box. This pop-up is created using the alert method. So this we know. The next one we have confirm. So like this, a confirmation if you want, like an OK button or a cancel button and all if you want, we'll create with a confirm. See here, we creating button. The button name is just a delete record. See, before you delete something, a file in your computer also, before you deleting that one, it will ask you a confirmation message box. Are you sure you want to delete that one? So an OK button and a cancel button will be there. So in a browser also, if you want to, before you performing any task like this, if you want to ask a confirmation for the user, you can create that type of pop-up messages or pop-up window using this confirm method. So here just we given it is a delete record like that a name you given for the button. Click on that one. It will call this message function. So confirm, are you sure we are asking. So it will give either true or false. If we are giving true means alert, again we are using for the OK and cancel like this we are using. So if else we have used here, you see the output of this. So this is our button. If I click on that, it will ask you like this. So when I click on OK, it will show the alert box like this. If I click on cancel, it will show the alert box with the name what cancel it will show. Okay. Clear? So if I click this box with this buttons already, okay and cancel. That is which one? A confirmation type of pop-up message. Okay. Now the next one is some navigator type of object is there that is not used every time, very rarely used. As a programmer, if you want to know what is the type of the navigator or what is the app name, which language they are using, which platform we are working, all those information as a programmer, if you want to know, then you can use this navigator object. Otherwise, commonly we are not using, it is very rarely used. See, like this, we have methods. App code name, app name. I'll just execute and show you. This no need to give importance because that is very rarely used. See like this. What is the app code name? App name is Netscape. So first only we told you JavaScript they have created for this Netscape Navigator browser only they have created. So that is only it is showing you. Okay. So here app version, cookies enabled, cookies and all we will see later. So whether it is enabled or not. I think you are familiar with that name, cookies and all. Then here which language we are using. What is the user agent, which is the platform now here working. All those information we'll get to know using this navigator object. That's it. Only that is its advantage. Other than that, it is very rarely used it. Okay. So that we don't want much using, it is not there. We have this open function is there. So see here, we have a button, click. On click, it is calling the MSG function. In that, the function open is used and we have given a URL like this. So we are telling when I click on that button, this page should be opened like this. Okay. To click. So now it is navigating or it is opening which page only? Google.com, because that URL only I have specified there. So it is opening that particular web page for. Okay. This way also you can create this browser object method. Prompt is there. See the output first. When I click on this button, it will ask you like this. Just a question like this. Now I am printing. Depends upon your logic. You can type whatever you want. Suppose I am typing the name. Okay, when I click on OK, it is telling an alert box like this. Logic, nothing will be there, but just to show you what is a prompt message. And when I click on that OK, but I can show later. In alert message box, you can show. Okay, like this. So how to create that one? Again, that is a built-in method for the browser object. So see the prompt is a function. Inside that we have given the value. So this is only it is showing there. So after seeing this one, you have entered something. So that box and all automatically created by using this prompt function. So whatever value I'm entering there, that I'm storing in this variable B. Then printing this pop-up message using that value B on. So only when I entered the name, it is showing alert box, it is showing with that particular name. So these are all working dynamically, So I think now you come to know what is the usage of JavaScript. Like this only we use it. Okay. Any doubt in this? We have one history object. We have a back function, then forward function is there. I think in this window only you can see here a back button is there, a forward button is there. When you open a browser, here only you can see. Go back to back, hold to see the history here. It is clicking to forward, go to see the, hold to see the history like this. So the previously opened page or the forward opened page, all those things, next opened page and all we can access using this function. That is history object. See here I used with window object. Actually, this is also not required. Without that also we can use. So window dot history dot the function name is what? Back. So when I click this back button, it will go back like this. Go back is a function which I created in my program. Back is a built-in function for that object history. Same manner, we have a forward function also, which will go to the next page link. Okay, clear? Any doubt? Okay. Now you see here, we have one more. Set timeout like that a function is there. Okay, so set timeout, a function, then plus an alert message also we are using. Plus here we used this 2000. So it is in milliseconds format we are telling. 2 seconds we have to set the time. So after 2 seconds something you want to load like that. A time we have set there. That is only the set timeout function we are using. Okay. So here the milliseconds is representing 2000. That means 2 seconds. If I represent there 1000, it means 1 second. After 1 second only something it should perform like this. You see the output. So click. After that, see, after the 2 seconds only, now it is showing me the message like this. Alert box, it is showing, welcome to Google. Some messages I'm printing, welcome to Google after 2 seconds. The 2 seconds time delay we have specified using that set timeout function. Clear? Any doubt? Okay. So yesterday one doubt is asked. How to, I told you the date object where we are using one doubt asked. For that I told you that is used to display the clock in your web page. If you want to display the clock, you can use the date object. How to display that clock? I told you that time we can use with the for loop, plus we can use with this set timeout function also I can use it. See one example for that. See, we have used here document.getElementById by ID only we are using. So paragraphs, that means it is showing is a paragraph like that, it will show you. Now here what we are doing is set interval is used. Okay, so this timeout like that, we have this set interval, one function is there. In that we calling this function what? My timer, comma, what is the value we specified? 1000 milliseconds. That means every second wise that we want to change something. So that is a set interval we have specified there. Now what is this timer function is doing? Here you can see it is creating what? It is creating a date object. So current date object only it is showing there. Get element by ID demo, that is your paragraph dot inner HTML. That one we are converting into a string format and displaying code. Okay. So this D dot to localate time string, this method we have to use it. Then we can convert that time into in string format and it is displaying code. Okay, you see the output. So you can see here that current time only it is showing you 1646. The seconds it is changing every time. So dynamically you are making changes there. So only here we have to use with what method? Get element by ID. That only will work. If you try with the document.write, that time it will not show you this thing. Okay, clear? So this is the way how you can place a clock in your web page. For that we have this set interval one function is there for your browser object. That function you can use it. And what is the time interval if you want to give? How you will give? You'll give that one in the form of milliseconds. Okay, so 1000 milliseconds is equal to 1 second. So according to that, you can give the values. Any doubt in this thing? Clear? Clear for everyone? See here, again the set timeout only used in a different way. That's it. An alert message is printing like this. After 2 seconds, it is printing the alert message like this. One more thing, we can create. So when I click on the start count, that will keep on counting like this. Okay. So this is an infinite like that it is going. So 10, 11 like that, that will keep on counting. If I click on this button stop count, then it is stopping. So how to create like this a time interval and all. So we have this functions only. See here. So set timeout function is used. Okay. Then here we have used this 2 buttons. One button is for the start count. On click, it will go to which one? Do timer. See, this is the function we created for the do timer. Okay. Variables we have used. And inside that, time count like that, one more function we are using. This is only the time count function. There, it is each time it is incrementing like this. Okay. Clear? Every second wise it is changing that one. So set timeout also given there in that time count function is calling. So it is an infinite type of values. Starting value is 0 we have told there. So every time it is changing 1, 2 like that. Here also the incrementation process is working. Set timeout means in every second like that it is changing that values. Then when I click on this stop count, see here we have clear timeout like that. A function is there. Okay, so that it is calling timer is on is equal to 0 like that. We have set the value and it is closed. Clear timeout is a built-in, not a function which I created. Like how we used this set timeout method no, of the browser object. Same manner, clear timeout is a method of the browser object only. There we have passed the value and here we assigned that as what? 0. That means it will stop that things. Okay, clear? Any doubt?
Can you show the whole program?
Yes.
Scroll down, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
So clear about document object and browser object? Any doubt? Have you decided how you will create your web pages? Any idea? Anyone decided what color it should be? If you decide and tell me, then only we can discuss about that. See, now we have completed HTML, CSS styles also we completed. We know how this JavaScript also using with your HTML document. So now you have to think how designing you are doing, how to add the values, how to take that one, how to implement this dynamic changes to your web pages. Have you thought anything? you reply me in the chat. Okay. See, you decide and tell me so that we can discuss about that. Otherwise, I don't know how you people are doing. Anyway, you have to do one web page or website, you have to design it. Why can't you think about your college thing only? Create a website for your college. There are small applications only you can implement, like how adding the student details, how to view the student details, all those operations only. So a new student is coming, we are entering all the student details there. So for that one page, registration page like that, then user can or the student can log into their college ID. So all those way you can create a small website. Okay. Is that okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, that's what you have to decide and tell me. Okay. So this is about our browser object and window object. Okay. Now, we will see what are the events. We already seen that on click. Now you know how on click event is working. When you click on the button, what it should happen or what it should perform, all those tasks only we are assigning for that button. So that is on click. It is not always clicking. See, when I type something, when I use the keyboard key, when I double click on something, then also some event should happen. So how we will perform those events? That is, we have all these built-in functions are there, or this attribute event handlers are there. Using that, you can implement the event handling in JavaScript. So what do you mean by event? That is change in the state of an object. That is known as what? Event. So when this mouse, we are keeping over the hyperlink, the mouse shape only changing into a finger shape. So that is one type of event. If I double click on something, it is doing some other task. If I single click, it is doing some other task. If I drag, another task. Like all these are what? Events we will take. So how to implement the event? So the process of reacting over the event is called event handling. So clicking on something, something should happen. So that we have to tell them what to perform. That is what event handling. So we have so many events. Mouse type of events is there. Then window or document type of events is there. Keyboard event is there. Form events is there. See, these all are event types. In that mouse event, you see, when I keep a mouse, when I place the mouse over any text boxes or any text value, not even boxes also, if I place over this text value or when I place over the button, something should happen. So that is an event we are telling. So on mouse over is an event handler. Click event, we know, we already done so many programs with click. On click is the event handler. When it is performing, when a mouse click on an element. Mouse out is there. That means when I am changing that mouse from that particular element, mouse out. Mouse down is there when you are pressing on that one. When you release, that means when you drag something, when we will press and hold the button. So that is a mouse down. When I release that one, it is mouse up. Mouse move is there. Movement of the mouse, we are doing some event. So all these things are what? Mouse events. So this event handler is built in. On click, on mouse over, on mouse out, on mouse down, mouse up, mouse move. All these are built-in event handler for this particular event. Okay, this all comes under mouse events. Now we have window type of events. So when load, that is on load, when the browser finishes the loading of the page. So when you access your URL in your web browser, when the page is loading, then that load event it should happen. Unload, when the visitor leaves the current web page, the browser unloads it. Resize the resize. On resize the event handler when the visitor resizes the window. You have minimized the browser window. When you reload that one or resize that one, what should happen? So all these events you can change there, or you can tell what it should happen. So you are using this event handler. Keyboard events is there, key down and key up. On key down and on key up when the user press and release the key. That is only keyboard events. Home events, focus, submit, blur, change. So these are the events we have to perform for the forms. Event handler is on focus when the user focus on an element. That means when I click inside a text box, you are focusing on that particular element only. Input type text only you are focusing. So what it should perform. Now, on submitting one form, so on submit we can tell. On blur, when the focus is away from a form element. On change, when the user modify or change the value of the form element. So all these things are what form events we are telling. Okay. So we have one more method, add event listener. So that add event listener, that method is used to attach an event handler to a particular element. So this same thing only, on focus, on submit only, but we are just adding more extra thing for a particular element like that. Okay, so that is this add event listener method. Okay, so this you got an idea? What are events? How many types of events are there? What is this event handler? How to use this? So how to use this? I'll show you programs. We'll take some 10 minutes break. Then I'll show. Okay. Now, hello. How to see each events, how it is working. That on click, we have done so many examples because when we started learning JavaScript, started using on click event only, which is the simple one. So we'll see one next. Here button, on click, function name, value, what is the button name. If I click on that one, this particular function will invoke. Same operations what we have done previously. So if I click on that button, it is showing this is on click event like that, it is showing you. Here, what we are doing here is, instead of a button, here we are clicking on a text. So it is not always a button. No? Clicking I can do on a text also if you are clicking what it should perform. So that one only here we are defining. So you can see we have created a paragraph. ID is defined. Para is the name for that one. Now here document.getElement by ID. Para on click function. Fun is the function we are calling. Okay. So here fun we have defined like this. What it is doing? It is printing this value. Welcome to JavaScript. So the content is was which one like this paragraph, it was having click me. When I click on that one, then the content should change like this. Welcome to the JavaScript. Then some styles also we have implemented. Style.color equal to blue. Style.background color equal to yellow. Font size this much. Border what it should show. All those things we have created here. Okay. So this is how we created using this clicking event only, on click event, not over a button and all, it is over a text value. Okay. So you view this output. So here it is written, click the following text to see the effect. So when I click on that click me, you can see here, we got like this. Okay. How we got all those things? You can see here. Border is created. Size is this much. Background color, border color, what it should be. All these properties now we have set there. So this is one more example for the on click. Now another example we have. We see one example for focus event. So we created a text box. The text box ID we are telling it is input one. For the text box, which property or which event we want to give it is on focus equal to a function calling perform. Focus event is the function call we are performing there. So the function focus event document dot get element by ID. ID value is given input one dot style dot background equal to. So that means when I focus on the text box style only we are changing with the background color of aqua color. Okay. Let's give this output. So right now it is like this. When I click inside, then it is changing the color like this. You can type whatever things you want. We just changed the focus value only. So we used their focus event. Clear? Any doubt? Now we have this key down event. Here you can see is asking under something here. When I start typing, that means using the keyboard, if I press any key, that is on key down. So for that, we have given a function like this, key down event. The function, what it is doing? Document dot get element by ID, input one, and a message box is printing what pressed a key like. That is, you can determine what value it should show. Now here I'm determining with what it is pressing a key like that. We are printing an alert message. Okay. This output you can view. When I click inside this text box, press any key, then it is showing what alert box, press a key. Okay, clear? Any doubt? This is key down event. Now mouse over. So you can view here again, same type. Paragraph we have given on mouse over, calling a function mouse over event. Here what it is printing is, this is an event program like that, and alert message we are printing. So it is not always alert message. Which way you want to show the event value, you can create according to that. Okay. So the output. So when I place that mouse over that text value, it is showing the alert box. See, when I am moving the mouse here, it is showing that. Every time when you move the mouse over the text value, it will show you the alert message. That is what mouse over. So the event handler name is on mouse over event. Keep cursor over me like this, a text message we have given. We have page load event. So inside the body only that onload event handler we have given. See, on load equal to window dot alert of this message, it will show alert message. Plus, we are writing a message in the text box also what the page is loaded successfully. So when the web page or your HTML page is loading, that time this on load event will happen. It will show this alert message for you. Okay. See, when the page was loading, is showing the alert message, page is successfully loaded. Still that value, see, when I close that one, then only your HTML document values it is showing. Here, this on load event handler. Okay, we have given the body now. That means the entire page while loading, we have to print it or we have to perform some event. That is only this window dot alert we are giving. Any doubt? I told you to type everyone's name in this chat box. Have you done? Your name with your initials. No. Next operation we'll see. By loading only, on load only we are using there. Some styles we have defined like this background color, width, height, border, all those styles is defined there. On load at event handler is used. This BG, that means for the background color to be like this, height and width, and this BG name that is defined for this division tab. So we are creating a division when the window is loading. Okay, then view this output. So when the window is loading, that time we have created a division box like this. It's a part of their web page. A division is created for the div tag is used there. And what is the ID for that? That is BG. Here, that BG only we are setting the styles, background color, width and height. That values only styles we have specified there. Okay. So here, like this, that blue color is styles only specified. Okay, fine. Now resize is there. See what is the program for on resize. What it is doing, you first see the output. So when I am resizing this, it will show you have resized the window how many times. So a count variable also we have set there to count how many times that window we have resized. So when I'm minimizing this one, when I resize that one, see here this maximize button only if you press here, you have resized that one into like this. Width is this much, height is this much. You resize to the window, how many times it is showing you. Again, you click on that maximize button. See now you see how much is the width, how much is the height. Now second time we have resized to that window. Once again, if you press, it will show you every time on count variable also working plus to what size, what width and height it is resized. That value also it is showing for. Okay. That is this program. So you see this program, how it is done. We have done a variable creation here that is I is equal to 0. Now, how I'll get that width? We have this window object dot outer width one property is there. Height, how we are getting that is outer height property is there. Now we are printing that using our document.getElementById res value we are printing. Now one more variable that is res1, in that I value is incrementing by 1. So only here in this window we are getting this number. How many times that window is resized? 1 time, 2 time, 3 time, like that. It is showing that value, count value using this I equal to I plus 1. Instead of writing that shorthand method only we used here. Now res1 is a variable to store the count value. That also here displayed. Okay. Now inside the head tag only we have done all these things. Now inside the body we are telling on resize event. Calling a function fun. So when I call or when I resize that one, it will call the function. There we'll get what is that particular. When I'm resizing, what is the width value and what is the height value. That it will change every time now. So that value only we are getting, storing in this variable. And here you can see ID para. So here this document.getElementById will replace with that particular width and height elements. See, like width is equal to 1050, height is this value. Then and one more is there. We have used a span. So that span only is showing like this. So we are getting a message like you resized the window. How many times? 3 times. All those things it is showing with like this. Okay. So span is a tag where inside a division, if you want to create another division, then we'll prefer to use with span tag only. ID is equal to S1. So here we have told what value to be displayed in that one. So that it is showing. It is already 0. So only when first you load the page, it is showing with 0 value. But how many times if you are reloading or resizing that one, the value will get changed. So this is the program for on resize. Any doubt? This we have used only with event handler, on resize event handler, on load, on click. All those event handler only we have used there. The function fun this what to perform that we have created inside the function. That function is user defined function only. Okay. Any doubt? Now how to use the event listener method. So for that particular element, some event listener we are telling. Okay. So previously what programs we were doing, when I click on that button, what it should perform. Now when you click something, clicking only, when you click something, what a particular element, HTML element, how it should change. Element wise, we are defining some events. That is only we are doing using add event listener method. So here we have a button here. ID is BTN. So the button value is click me we have given here. One paragraph also, that para is the ID value. Document.getElementById. The button for that we have given this add event listener. Okay. So when I click on that, it should call this function fun. So there what we are doing is getElementById para dot inner HTML equal to hello world. And one more thing we are printing is welcome to JavaScript, like that a statement we are printing. So what is the difference there? There while creating the button only we have told what is the action it should perform. So here itself we have told it is on click or it is on resize, like that. For this one only we have told. Now we are telling for an element based. So document.getElementById. So that element value here we have retrieved. Then using which one add event listener, calling the function like this. So you can see here, if I click on that button, then I'll get this messages. So this is also a type of event handling only. We used this add event listener method is used. That's it. Not with that event handler and all. Method we used to handle the events. That is the difference. Any doubt in these things? Clear? One more program we'll see. So here, multiple events we are adding to the same element. Okay. See here what we are doing. We have two paragraphs, para and para 1. A function that is printing like this. Welcome to JavaScript. Another function is there, fun1. There it is printing some, that means changing that paragraph value. This is a second function like that. And an alert message also it is there. One thing you can use, either you can use this document or you can use this alert. Anything is fine. Function 2, here I'm using only one thing, para1 dot inner HTML. This is the third function like that, it is printing. Now here, document dot get element by ID, this button at element value only we have access to here, that we are storing in this variable my btn. Now for the my btn, at a time 3 events only we are specifying. So the same button only 3 types of events. One is add event listener of click function is using. Then same add event listener clicking only. That time what it should do, function 1 is calling, and one more thing, it is for function. Like that, the same button only we have giving multiple events. That is this example. Can view this output. Like this. When I click on this one, first function is working. Click OK. See, now the second function also working. Welcome to Java. Now the third function it is printing. The first two function here I have given alert messages only given. Instead of alert message, if you want to display that value in your web page, then again you can use this document.get element by ID. That also will work. But for the single button only, this events we have specified. See, first function is working. When I click on OK, then the second and third. So 2 events we have performed. Clear? Any doubt? Another example we'll see. This is another example. Adding multiple events for different type to the same element. So here, again, this button is created. btn is the name. This function, fun1 is there. Fun2 is there. And here, we have taken that, or we access to that button element and storing in this my btn. Again, add event listener method is used, but the events is different one. You see here, it is not click, mouse over, click is there, then mouse out is there. Okay, so it is not always which one click only. You can do any other event type. Mouse over we can do, mouse out, or key up, key down, all those things you can specify which one you want. So if it is mouse over, this particular function, if it is click, function 1, if it is mouse out, function 2. And what we are doing inside these 3 functions. Inside the function, first one, fun, we are doing the button style, width is changing there, height is changing, background is changing, color is changing. Okay. Now, if it is click, when I click on that one, that is fun 1. Then what it is doing? we are printing that value. This is a second function. Okay. Now, if it is mouse out, that is third one. So there it is fun too. What is the size, style, width and all? We have just made it as empty. That means it will resize to the original. Okay. See the output. So when I place the mouse over that button, so now it is changing. That means we have given the event for that changing the button styles and all. So the function one is calling there. So there whatever styles we have specified that got implemented for that button. Okay, when I move the mouse, it changed it to its original size. When I click on that one, so the second function is working. This is second function. Clear? Any doubt? How to handle with events is clear for you. Tell me yes or no. How to use all this event handler. How to use with add event listener. I think you got to know what is the difference between event handler specifying and using method add event listener. What is the differences? We learned add event listener. First program what I showed is same event only for the same event, but multiple times how it is working. It is only here, same click event only, how multiple ways we have implemented it. Second program, for that add event listener, I showed for the button, multiple events are there, how it is behaving in different ways. That is only here shown. Okay, any doubt? Because events are important, so only again I'm asking. If you have any doubt is there, you can ask me tomorrow, or else now if you have any doubt, you can tell me here in the chats. So this is all about our events. We have done browser objects, how it is working. Then event handling is done. Then document object also done. How to use all this browser object, loading, all those things is clear. Any doubt? Okay, next one, we'll do exception handling. Have you heard about exception handling? So how many types of errors we have? You doing any programming? How many type of mistakes we'll get? So we'll get mistakes 3 types. That is logic error we'll get, syntax error we'll get, at runtime. So what do you mean by syntax error? That means if I miss that closing tag, or if it is not properly specifying the attribute names, all those is what? Syntax. So if HTML tags, how to use that HTML tags, one syntax is there. If I'm not following that syntax, syntax error will give. That means when loading the web page, it will not show the proper output. Logic error is what? You are trying to do some event handling or something like that. You don't have any logic. So what output you are expecting, that it will not show there. So you have written some coding there, you have a logic, you are telling this should be happen like that. But when you run your program, whatever output you are expecting, that it is not showing. So that is a logic error. So actually these two, logic error and the syntax error, as a programmer, you can handle it. Like if you read your program, you can correct your syntax error because you will be knowing what is the syntax of each tag, how to use each style, CSS, JavaScript and all. You will be knowing how to use this language syntaxes. So you can correct it. Again, logic wise, if you read your program again, you will come to know, okay, this kind of logic will not show me the output which I want. Again, you can correct by using the another logic. Okay. So that is a logical. But when syntax wise your program is correct, when logic wise also your program is correct, but when we run the program, the output it is not showing properly, or your program is stopping unexpectedly. That we call it as what? Runtime. And the situation where your program is stopping unexpectedly, that we call it as exceptions. Okay. So what is exception is, that is a situation where your program is stopping unexpectedly during runtime. So what will happen when the program is stopping unexpectedly? It will not follow the normal flow of the program. You can imagine your program is having some 100 lines. Your one particular program you are executing, there 100 line is there. In that, your error happened, or the runtime error happened at the 10th line. So what will happen? Your program stopped at the 10th line. The remaining we had so many lines to execute that it is not executing. It is stopping the execution at the 10th line. So we have to handle that situation so that user should get, or it should not affect the normal flow of the program. Okay, so when anything happened at the 10th line also, the remaining statements should work properly. That is called as exception handling. So what is exception? What is the situation when I'll get an exception? And what is exception handling? Why we need to handle the exception? So here, every programming language, if you take, exceptions are there. So if you take your mobile phone, sometimes using the apps in your mobile phone, the app that will stop unexpectedly. That can be any reason. So there it will show a message box for you, what you want to perform, wait, report, okay. So that they have handled it properly. So only as a user, I am seeing all those message boxes, what I can do next. It is not affecting my rest of the program or rest of the application working. It is not affecting. If I click on OK, some task they have defined. If I click on report, some another one. If I click on wait, that will wait. Again, automatically that will resume the application. So we are learning now how to implement this exception handling in JavaScript. Okay, you got it? So exception signifies the presence of an abnormal condition which requires special operable techniques. So in programming terms, if you tell exception, that is an anomalous code that breaks the normal flow of the code. So such exception requires specialized programming constructs for its execution. So as a programmer, if you create your own programs or software, if you are developing, or a website if you are creating, we must implement there which one exception handling, because we don't know when a runtime error will come. So it is better to do all our coding within exception handling statements. So in programming, exception handling is a process, or that is a method used for handling the abnormal statements in the code and executing them. It also enables to handle flow control of the code or program. Okay. So here we have here in JavaScript an error object is there. So when a runtime error is occurring in your JavaScript program, it creates and throws an error object. So it is similar to other programming languages only. If it is in Java, there also we have an error object. If it is in Python, there also we have an error object. So when a runtime error is coming in JavaScript, it automatically creates and throws an error object. Such an object can be used as a base for the user-defined exception. So now as a programmer, what I can do is we can refer this error object and you can give the handling statements properly. So an error object has two properties. One is name, that is an object property that sets or returns an error name. Message is this property returns an error message in the string form. So what name, error name, if you want, you can set the name for that error. and what message you want to show. Message is nothing but which I told you, when you're using an apps, it will show what you want to perform. When it is stopping unexpectedly, it will show a message box for you. Like this, what message you want to display for the user. He is experiencing a runtime error. So that is we can do using this error object. In JavaScript, how to handle this error situations. So we have throw statements, then try catch statements are there, then try catch finally. So this also you are familiar, I think so. Those who know Java, this is familiar. There also we have throw. There also try catch statements are there. Try catch finally statements are there. Okay, so how to use these things, we'll see. So try and catch that are block of statements. So try is a block of statement. Catch is also a block of statement. How to use try? Your error expected code we are keeping inside your try block. So while creating a web page, a particular point, you are thinking, okay, this might create an error in some situation like that. We don't know, but we are thinking they may create one error like that. So better keep those coding inside which block? Try block. So if anything happened inside the try block, that we can handle using catch. So inside the catch, it is always error handling statements. What we should show to the user. Okay, if anything happened in the try block, what you want to show to the user? What statements? Error handling statements will give inside the catch. Okay. Then try catch finally is there. That is also try and catch will be there. Finally, together with try and catch only, we'll use the finally block. Finally, some coding part will be there that you want to execute always. Doesn't matter whether exception occurred or not, you want to execute the code every time. Those kind of codes we can give inside the finally block. Because catch, when it will execute only when error is there. When an error is there inside the try block, then only catch block will execute. If error is there, then also you want to execute some particular coding. If no error is there, then also you want to execute the coding. You can give that one inside the finally. Okay. We will see one example for try and catch. The other example I'll show in the next class. Okay. How to use the try and catch syntax wise, we'll see one example. So we can see here, run and see. See, when I just created an error messages like this, you click on this one, like this an error message we are getting. This is a confirm type of pop-up message we are getting. So this page is telling there was an error. If you click OK to continue viewing this page, or you can cancel to return to the home page. I think this type of message boxes you have experienced while using the websites. And so that error occurred. So this is handled properly using this message. So that how to handle that only here we are doing using this try and catch. Okay, so here in this body, we have this body color, input button, view message, on click, we are calling this message. That and all you know. Now inside that, here this alert like this actually I want. What is error problem here? You can see this double T I have given here. Okay, that means that function is not available here in JavaScript. So by mistake it happened. Actually, alert is the function name. In that, when spelling mistake is there, double T we have given. So this is now an error situation. So that alert message, it is not working. So we are getting an error in this alert. So that alert function we given inside the try block. Okay. Now, if anything happened here inside this try block, how we handled that situation? You got that confirmation, one confirm pop-up message box you got. How you got that? See, when anything happened inside this try, automatically catch block will work. Inside the catch, we know this is one object name you can tell. This is your error object. So here, first only I told you in JavaScript, when an error is occurring, automatically an error object is thrown there. So an error object automatically it is there that is thrown. So this value is that error object. So what we are telling there, a variable text is equal to, this is the error. Then to that one only we are concatenating these messages. Click OK to continue viewing this one or to cancel this one. So this variable text consists of all those things. Already this variable is declared here. Now what we are telling, not of that confirm of text, we are telling document.location.href. This is also one another type of object only, href equal to this linked part we are giving there. So in that page only, here we want what? That text confirmation message it is showing for. Okay, in the form of what? In a confirmation pop-up message it is showing for you with this particular content. So that value only here we have passed there. Clear? Any doubt? So this is an example for how to use try and catch. The other example in detail I'll show you next class. You got an idea what is exception? How to handle that exception using try and catch. Any doubt? Okay, so this is one example. So we'll just brief today what we completed. So today what all completed? You have to try all those things, especially events. You have to try it because those things we have to implement in our websites. Okay, so which type of website you are creating, there you have to implement the logic of events also. Not only the on click, we have learned so many other types also, but everything you can implement there. Okay, fine. So we learned about what is document object and what is get element by ID method, how to use that get element by ID method, and how to use this property, inner HTML property with that method. So we have not only this ID, we can specify using tag name. That means you can access using tag name also. You can access using class name. Inner HTML property, you can change the value or content of that element. You can specify a new attribute value. You can implement the style property. Then we learned what? Browser objects we learned. What is the browser object? What are the functions available for the browser objects? How to use this one? How to create a clock in your web page? That is clear, right? You can implement that also in your website. How to create this prompt messages and all. Now we learned about events. How many types of events are there? Mouse over, mouse out, all those things. Examples, I think you are clear about all the examples. Page form events is there, that only focus I have done. Then we will do with the forms, no, like validations and all we have to learn. So that time I'll show you examples with the on submit. Then how to use this add event listener. Okay, how to use with the add event listener for the same HTML element in a different way. And what is exception we learned, how many types of errors we have, how to handle the exception here in JavaScript. Only with try and catch, now I showed you a single program. The other things we will do it tomorrow. Any doubt? Clear? So those events you try and come next class. Any doubt is there? You ask me. Okay, fine. So tomorrow we'll continue.
Thank you, ma'am.